Hello,
So
everyone.
let's
Good
give
afternoon.
him a
Yes.
clap and a heart.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that very long introduction. All right. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, when I was listening to both Mr. Marasigan earlier and your president, it was like most of the key points that I was going to say and discuss was already given out. Those were the spoilers. They're actual official spoilers of it. But I'm also focusing more on what's inside a person. All right, so how do you motivate people? So that'll be the main aspect of my talk today is stud you to teach you to be able to study yourself. All right, instead of, when if you're going to talk about, money or how to win clients and all that stuff, I'm not the person to listen to. I'm going to be the last person to help you in terms of earning money. But in terms of motivating people, motivating yourself primarily, I think that's where I'm gonna be more of use when it comes to this talk. But anyway, before I forget, I'd like to say congratulations to everyone. Congratulations. Why? But just by being a member of this organization, this group that you call Mount Champion. Okay, I'm very proud and very honored that you have invited me, Lawrence, to be your prime speaker in this assembly. I feel like, okay, first thing when you offered me this opportunity to talk, I said, okay, what the sports got to do with, with selling financial stuff? You even sold me one, and I got sold. You actually motivated me to go into insurance, which is why I wanted to give back to what you have given me. So it's a great honor for being here. And I know that you've invited so many more people, but look, the numbers that you have right now is 64. I know you've invited double that in terms of numbers. And just looking at this, why are people not having enough time to understand this most important part of their lives? Like investing into a very bright future. You know, it's because of the problems that they have within them. So everything that I'm going to be talking about right now is basically connected to a lot connected to swimming and to training athletes and to training elite athletes per se, in terms of how they began from humble beginnings all the way to becoming champions. And I guess that's what your organization is called. Now you have to relate everything that I'm going to discuss to you, not in sports terms, but more of like how you are as a member of this organization, Mount Champion. All right. Like for example, if you're related to a business, to working environments, to industries, different kinds of industries, wherever you go to a certain job or certain occupation, and you feel like, okay, this is not the occupation for me. Okay, I'm gonna let it go to another company, go to another industry, so on. And you go to another industry that doesn't work for you, and go on. And then you'll try to, start questioning yourself, why do I keep job hopping? Why do I keep transferring from one place to another? How come I don't belong to a certain group? As a swimmer, that often happens. When you feel like you're not good in one swimming team, you feel like, okay, maybe this is not the team for me. This is not the coach for me. I'm going to move on and go to another venue. So whatever I'm going to discuss with you now will be particularly pertaining to training an athlete. But imagine yourself as an athlete based on what you do in this industry called, selling investments. All right. So remember to write down some phrases that I'll be giving out. Most of these phrases I use to my athletes. So get ready with your pen and paper and write it down. And there will be days that will come that you feel discouraged. You feel like you're down in the dumps and you feel like you're not good enough in what you're doing. Read this phrase over and over again to you. Remember how I discussed it with you, and it will encourage you to bounce back and be a fighter. All right. Keep a logbook of everything that you're going to be hearing, everything you've heard from the people that talked to before me, everything that they said. Use those keywords to encourage you in your job. So that was a long introduction, Lawrence, and a long introduction for me as well. Can everybody hear me properly? Is everybody good in terms of sound? Okay, great. So
Yes,
I'm gonna
perfect.
go over to my slides. In case the slides fail, hang on, let me just, can I share screen?
Yes,
Okay, there we go. Can you see my screen now?
yes, you can.
All right, great. Okay, hang on, just play it. All right, so again, a big chunk of your company or the business of your company is about investment. Now, when you're talking about, yeah, when you're talking about investment, what are you talking about? When you're saying that you want to invest into a new car or invest into a house or invest into something. For example, I want to invest in sports, and I want in order to be the top in sports, you got to invest in the best equipment, best coach, best training program, best venue, and so on and so forth. But rather now think about yourself. Okay. Now, do you have enough confidence within yourself to make you yourself as your investment? Okay, because sometimes we backtrack and say, am I good enough for this position? Am I born for this position? Is this what I need, I can be for the rest of my life? And you doubt yourself. These self-doubts have roots. All right, now when you say roots, what will be the cause of why you doubt yourself? Okay, what's stopping you? Whenever I train my swimmers and then I give them really hard events, I know Lawrence, if everybody doesn't know what Lawrence's background is. When Lawrence was my swimmer when he was in high school, he took one of the most hardest events in swimming, and that's the 200 butterfly, the 200-meter butterfly. Out of all the four strokes in swimming, butterfly is the hardest. Freestyle is the easiest. Some people like the Chinese, they like breaststroke the best. They feel like if you get old, that's the easiest stroke. Lawrence took it upon himself. It wasn't me that gave the stroke to him. He chose to choose butterfly. And butterfly is the stroke that was specialized by the world's best swimmer, the world's greatest swimmer by the name of Michael Phelps. This is the only athlete in the world that accumulated 8 Olympic medals in a single Olympic Games. Right? No one else have surpassed that in any other sport, in other profession. He was the only person in the world that achieved 8 gold medals, and his specialty is the 200 butterfly. So why didn't Lawrence stop there? Why do swimmers still swim the 200 butterfly? What's stopping you? It's basically not because the stroke is hard. It's because you doubt yourself, and these doubts come from within you. Now we're gonna be delving into more of like personal psychology now. How you look at yourself and how you began in this industry. It's the same thing as how a swimmer begins in swimming. When swimmers walk into my swimming pool and they try to say, I want to try out for a swimming team. I know how to swim freestyle breaststroke. I don't know how to swim backstroke and butterfly. Can you teach me? I accept them in. They start from humble beginnings. And then when they start accumulating pain or difficulty in terms of training the sport, they doubt themselves and they eventually quit. And what makes them quit? What's stopping you? Here are the reasons that I've enumerated, which is the common reasons why people or why swimmers quit in the sport of swimming so early. Okay, number one, comfort zone. Okay, what is the comfort zone? Comfort zone is, all of us when we were born. Okay, all of us, our brains are developed and are hardwired to keep us safe, to keep us comfortable. How is that? For example, if you start running, you know, and you start jogging, you don't have any sweat yet, the cool breeze of air, you enjoy it. All of a sudden, your heart starts to pump much faster, and your energy starts to deteriorate, and you're starting to get away from the comfort zone. Your body, what does it do? First, it gives you pain. All right, the pain that you acquire from running from your legs or even from your core, and then you start getting sweat. It breaks out of your forehead, and all of a sudden the entire body is full of sweat. This is your body's reaction to extreme heat. It gives you pain, and it's make you sweat to cool down your body. All right, so our brains are hardwired to keep us safe and keeping us in the comfort zone. If you keep yourself in that comfort zone, you'll never succeed. All right, you have to get to that point where you start being comfortable with the pain, and that can be discussed much more later. The second one is multitasking. When you have chosen your field, for example, if you're a swimmer, you've chosen the stroke, you want to be a butterfly. All of a sudden, you see other swimmers having an easy time swimming the freestyle. Some of them are more comfortable swimming the breaststroke, and they don't train as much compared to what you do, because butterfly is the hardest stroke to swim. It's the same with you. All right, when you're focused on one thing, you get distracted by all these other things, and you want to mix them up. You want to learn this, you want to learn that, and you're losing focus to your main goal. All right, so when that happens, okay, you lose focus. You actually are not able to do your job properly. All right. One of the things that I want to tell you right now, a lot of you have tried multitasking, even working in the office. The more you multitask, the lower your IQ becomes. Look it up. You can Google it. All right. You're not able to do a really good decision, whether you're in a race, whether you're in a big challenge, whether you're within, within that period of almost selling that account. All of a sudden you panic in the middle and you lose focus. Okay, you don't know what to do. You forget this, you forget what you've been trained to do, because you always put your mind into thinking about something else and not focusing on one goal. Okay. Third, toxic people. This is quite important. When you are training for a certain important event, you gotta you gotta get yourself encircled by people who you trust, who trust you, who know, that you can be confident that that they can have your back if you feel like you're going to fall, if you feel like you're going to fail, and they're not going to be there to discourage you or push you down. People that won't be jealous of you, people that would look after the best out of you, and wants a bright future for you. So it's hard screening people and getting a small circle of friends or relatives that would actually support you when times are tight. So what I'm saying is that, how would you screen them? People sometimes are fake. They'll love you because you give something to them. The moment you can't give something back, all of a sudden they turn their back. So it's really hard. Get these people away from you and get a small circle of friends or relatives that will really support you and help you out. A close mind. What does that mean? A closed mind is called non-receptive. For example, there's this syndrome that I would always say to my swimmers, I already know that syndrome. Okay, when people come in and they know how to swim, they know the freestyle, and you try to correct their strokes, and you say, no, I already know that. I want to learn butterfly, but your freestyle's not fixed yet. And dominantly, our workout is 90% freestyle. How can you train your butterfly if you're not going to listen to me and train the freestyle? All right. So if you feel like you know more than that, you're trying to close your mind, even if you feel like you know already, you know the topic already, but you wanna do something else, and your mind is not focused. You gotta trust what's being taught to you. You gotta trust your mentor, your coach, or whoever's in charge of you, saying that, okay, this is what I want you to be able to achieve before you go to the next step. Everything is about taking steps, small steps before you achieve your goal. Some people, they want to take the shortcut and go around it and get to the top right away. And they close their mind and don't think about, they're saying that, I don't need to learn that. I know that already. Having a closed mind won't get you to where you're going. Okay. Next is self-sabotage. Now, this is one thing that we all suffer for. For example, if there's a group of people, all right, a group of swimmers, and then a coach comes over and say, okay, I'm gonna pick somebody to swim the relay, you, and you. And then these, maybe one of them would say, okay, coach, I'll do it. The other three are going like, I'm not really good at this event. Can I walk back and make him go, and make him go? And these people that you've assigned to swim that race, they go at the back of the group and they push somebody else. Once you've got this attitude and feel like other people are better than you, that's already, you're sabotaging yourself. You're losing. Yeah, that's like a sign of low confidence and self-esteem. You know, just to give you a breakdown of how I've started in swimming. I didn't go to college in order to coach swimming. All right, I went to college totally with different courses. But when I got out of college and felt like all the other opportunities for work did not, did not drive my passion, and I went into coaching swimming, even if I didn't have any background in coaching swimming. I was just a swimmer before. But being able to swim well and being able to coach is two different things. I never thought that I would be a good teacher. I thought I didn't have the patience to teach. Yeah, but what I did was, when people assign me to do something, I would say to myself, I'm not, my background is not teaching. My background is in business. That's what I finished. But I push somebody else in front and tell them, let them do it. Okay, I'm not into coaching. I'm not into teaching. And then eventually, when I realized that I was good at teaching, that's when I found my gift. All right. So try not to sabotage yourself. Open your mind and say to yourself, you're equally able. I mean, like other people, you're equally qualified to do anything you want as long as it's within your passion. Now, this is one thing that happens. The next topic is called culture. Now, this is one topic that maybe would hit a lot of people, especially in our country, in the far provinces. If you're not Manila based and you're coming from other provinces, they feel like when they go to Manila, they're intimidated by people that are in Manila. All right, because they come from a different culture. They're saying, okay, because I'm not from Manila, I might not be able to do this. I'm not be able to do that. You know, what is culture, by the way? Let's define it. These are ideas, customs, or what we call social behavior of a certain people, right? Or a certain community or a certain society. Now, this culture has taught us what we are when we are young. We grew up, if my culture is being Catholic, then everything that I do in my life is based on my religion. All right. If it's against my religion, of course, I wouldn't do it. And this culture, sometimes, having this certain religion helps you in certain aspects in life, but it also limits you at certain aspects, especially if you're going into a different culture. Like for me, I live in Hong Kong. I'm not in the Philippines. It's a totally different culture. But I didn't allow the culture that I grew up with in the Philippines to stop me from diving into working in another country, especially here in China. All right. So what I'm trying to say is what you are now is stopping you from pursuing your big dreams. All these factors that I've just enumerated to you, put them together. These are the things that stop you from reaching your potential. Who you are right now, right? If you feel like you've achieved something already, that's not enough. Okay. This is not you. This is who you learn to be. All right. So again, as I've said, it's who you learn to be. You got to try to unlearn yourself, change your mindset, and think outside the box. All right. And this is about change. It's about changing yourself. And you're going to say, it's too late for me to change, especially when you age, and you feel like I'm too old to learn new stuff. I'd rather stick with what I know right now. And that again, it's you're trying to stay within your comfort zone. Okay. So now let's talk about change. Okay. Train your mind. Don't let your mind train you. Okay. Your mind has already been set for you when you were growing up. Now, how do you change it? Do you know that out of all the species in the world, the human beings are the only ones that can be able to willingly change themselves. Only humans can change. Animals, for example, they never change from history up to now. For example, the ducks, they fly south during the winter when the air temperatures, the caterpillar, they're always going to a butterfly, things like that and so on. Animals have a certain pattern in their lives that would never change. The only change, for of course, if they're induced, for example, that's a different story. But if you yourself want to change the way you live, no matter if you've lived majority of your life in this setting, and then you see a big opportunity to be able to do this, right? That's what I tell my swimmers. If you got an opportunity to win in this and you've grown up not swimming, and you change into the swimming sport, all of a sudden there's a chance for you to become good, become a world a champion in the sport of swimming. Would you train your mind for it? It's really hard, especially when you encounter all the difficulties in training. Okay, that's what I said. Only humans can change. Now let's talk about swimming. All right. So, um, what is competitive swimming, by the way? All right, competitive swimming is actually. All right, hang on. Okay, competitive swimming is actually a different kind of life compared to other athletes. And Lawrence have experienced how to do this. We've we train not just once a day. We train twice a day. We train early in the morning. I still do it with my swimmers right now. And how early is that? Can you imagine getting into that cold water at 4:30 in the morning? Can you imagine that? Your parents waking up at 3:30, and then you travel to the swimming pool, and then you got to be in the pool by 4:30 stretching, go in the water by 4:45, and you finish training at 7:30. All right. So yeah, when that happens, you feel like, can I keep on doing this over and over again? Is this something that I can do? All right. And then waking up in the morning, you feel like, uh, I can't wake up in the morning every day. All right, I can't do this. If any of you were swimmers, or felt like you're an athlete or have been an athlete in the past, if if I tell you, if I ask you, and who among you, if you're waking up 4 o'clock in the morning, would be excited to get out of bed? All right. If one of you raises your hand, I'm going to tell you right now, you're a big liar. Even the best swimmers hates waking up that early. Even the best athletes in other sports waking up that early. But they got to do it. They got to do it. It's the only way to do it. In swimming, there are many quitters. Let me tell you this phrase that I always tell my swimmers: quitters never win, and winners never quit. All right. And when you feel like you can't wake up in the morning anymore, this this sort of like, it represents human life. It represents human life. How does that happen? When you wake up in the morning, it's like the beginning of life. Like nothing in life starts off easy. You're always bound to stumble and fall. you know you feel like, when you stumble, and these are setbacks, you have to say to yourself, when that happens, it's okay not to be okay. All right, that show, that Korean telenovela, that the title says it's okay not to be okay. You, as a swimmer, when a journey starts, it doesn't start off seamless, it doesn't start off smooth. You're always bound to make mistakes, and then when that happens, you're going to start running away from it, and they quit. Okay, one thing that I say to my swimmers: if you quit right now at a young age, if you quit, you're always going to be quitting for the rest of your life. Okay, you're going to have these regrets. You have to be comfortable by being uncomfortable. All right, life is not being comfortable every day. If you want to be comfortable every day, you should be retired. That's what I'm saying. While you're young and strong, you got to learn not to be uncomfortable every day, because that's the only way to improve in swimming, and that's the only way to improve in life, particularly. you know Swimmers, when they go to competition, they perform under severe pressure, under severe stress. Hundreds of people watching them. You're against seven other opponents in the swimming pool. When you dive in, you can't hear anything. Even if your parents are shouting at the top of your lungs, you don't hear them. All you hear is the silence of the pool and the thrashing of the water, and these other seven guys in the pool with you, trying to beat you, trying to leave you behind, trying to go ahead of you. All right. Now, life is competition. It's like that. People will always be there trying to beat you, try to push you down. Okay, and what are you going to do about it? You're just going to stay away from the challenge and say, okay, you can have it. I can't take this waking up in the morning every day anymore anyway. I'll just stop swimming because I always lose. And the more you lose, the losing accumulates when you give up and quit. All right. Now, when you say winning, what comes into mind? What comes into mind when you say winning? When is winning the trophies or the medals or the accolades that you get? Okay, when you win a competition, winning is about, you know in that dark, being solitude. Winning is about being able to succeed in finishing that morning workout, being able to finish every workout for the week. And then, when you finish that morning workout, let's say when you're high school, then you go to school, you go to the classroom, and your classmates smell you like, oh, you smell like chlorine. What did you do? I was training at 4:30 in the morning. I just finished at 7 o'clock to be in time in the classroom. You know, that alone, your classmates go like, what? You were in the water at 4:30 in the morning? Yes. And every time you do that, those are your small wins. That's the medal that you bring to yourself every single day. All these small things that you accumulate, they pile up into a big thing. And the more training that you do, the more chances of you winning. you know as a coach, why do I do this with my swimmers? Because other coaches don't do it. Other coaches would be satisfied with, you know 3 morning workouts in a week, and the rest are all afternoon workouts. I would do morning workout 5 times a week. I make sure that my swimmers load more mileage compared to their opponents, and that's the only way to win. Like what Mr. Marasigan was saying earlier. You're satisfied because you closed an account. You're satisfied because you got these deals. You're satisfied as a swimmer being able to achieve one, two, or three morning workouts. It's not enough. Your opponents will be piling up more morning trainings than you. You got to think about that. The world's greatest swimmer, Michael Phelps, for 4 years, never took a break in swimming. He swam during Christmas Day, during major holidays, during his birthday. When he was sick and he had a fever, when he had a cold, he got into the water. All right. For 4 straight years, he did that before he went to the 2008 Beijing Games. And that's the only way to do it. Now, this is one thing, what we call the pain barrier. I always say this to my swimmers, and this reflects life as well. What's pain barrier? All right. This can be represented by different things. The pain barrier. This can be represented by people discouraging you, by people stopping you, by by people saying to yourself that you're not good enough. Pain barrier in swimming is about not being able to swim a certain distance, and it's hard to breathe, it's hard to perform, it's hard to move your muscles, you become numb, but you have to keep on going. For example, if I give them a set, you got to do 1000 meters within 20 minutes. All right. And when they were high school, I kept making them do that. Okay. Within 20 minutes, you got to finish 1000 meters. The swimmers are already like at 500 and 600 meters, and their oxygen has all been depleted. They're all burned out, and they start to stand up. They make excuses like, oh, my goggles are leaking water. My cap is coming off. I got to tie my trunks. They make excuses. They stop because they couldn't take the pain. The rest of that minority in that swimming team that kept on going back and forth, back and forth. Swimming can be boring because it's the only sport that you just look at the bottom of the pool, looking at the same walls back and forth over. It's so boring. Unlike in tennis, unlike in basketball, you got a goal, you can do so many stuff and you can see it. But swimmers just look at the bottom of the pool every time. And to be able to continuously swim, restrict your oxygen because you can't breathe in the water. You got to do a breathing pattern that you occasionally take in air, and that burns a lot of it, burns a lot of oxygen, and it makes you slow down. It makes your body break down, and that's what we call the pain barrier. But those minority that kept on going and finished that 1000 meters at the end of 20 minutes, those are the cream of the crop, the tip of the iceberg. They're what we call the champions. They're the only ones that can withstand it. I'm not saying the rest of the field couldn't do it, but it will take time for them to be able to catch up and do it. But you got to be able, we always say to my swimmers, you always have to break the pain barrier. My next slide is another quotation that you can think of. This is about goal setting. All right. It says, think of what you want to happen and not what you are afraid might happen. All right. You have total control of what you can do and how to prepare for it. When swimmers go in a race, I don't tell them, okay, just swim it the way you swim it in the workout. It's totally different from the workout where you're isolated. There's no people watching you. But when you go to competition, the stress of a competitive nature, like referees will be there, your teammates rooting for you, your parents and your loved ones watching you from the stands, your friends watching you from there, and you're gonna swim the 200 fly, which is the hardest stroke. And you know that if you die on the 200 fly, on the 200 butterfly, the second 100 meters is the toughest one. That's when your shoulders and arms are at its heaviest. And it's so embarrassing if everybody starts leaving you behind and you're at the tail end of that race. You know, when I say think of what you want to happen, this is called mental preparation. It's like setting yourself goals. All right, focus, and you focus on your main objective. Don't think of what can happen wrong. Now let's look at it into your perspective as a sales agent. When you go into a sales agent, why are you nervous? Because some things might go wrong. You might say the wrong word. All right. Your client will say no right away and you haven't finished your pitch and so on. All right. Don't think about that. You're already preempting what's going to happen even before you start your talk or your sales pitch. In a race, I make my swimmers meditate. Think of a blank screen. Imagine yourself diving in the water, doing that first slant, looking into that upcoming wall on that first turn. What are you going to do after that first turn? How are you going to do that underwater technique? How are you going to come back at the race? How are you going to do that second half? How would it make you feel? How would you feel after when you're at the finish? We're talking about you guys being on that last quarter of this of this annual year. I'm making my swimmers think about that last 50 meters of a 200 meter. That's 200 meter and a 50-meter pool are four lengths: one, two, three, four. Focus on what you want, right? Focus on what you want to do and take control of that last 50. How are you going to finish it when everybody starts dying? How you make it show that you're not dying? What technique? All right. So when you focus on that goal, every time you go into training, swimming is a repetitive sport. You got to do it over and over again and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. All right. The practice makes perfect. You know that quote. It's very valuable for in a sport of swimming. Why? What the reason why we do a lot of loading, training in the morning, training in the afternoon, doing lots of mileage, doing lots of goal, is because we want our bodies to memorize how it feels. We want our body to memorize how to do the stroke, how to breathe this way, how to move this way, how to keep my body position in that certain place in the water. You memorize it. And then when you're in the race, you don't think about it. You start to relax. Why? I've done this thousands of times. Why am I worried of doing it just one time? All right. You take away all that stress out. All right. You go into that event and swim it. You know what your body does? Your body automatically shifts into that race mode and you just let it flow. And then you're at that finish on the 450. Oh, I've done my 150. All I need to do now is whatever is on the final 50. All right. Everything locks into place. And that's what you should be. The more accounts you close, the more you get yourself to practice, the more you're proficient with what you do and what you love, even if you don't love it. Actually, I'm telling you right now, swimming is, you got to really love the sport of swimming to be able to stay in it. All right. And it's hard. Waiting, it's hard loving the sport when it gives you a hard time the whole time, you know? But these small steps, when you pile it up together, what does my swimmers get out of it when they dress up, when they're dressing up for their uniform before going to school or go, you know, they see their six pack, they see their body figured like, whoa, look at me. I've got a body of an athlete. When you go to school and that 90% of your class are not athletes and you're part of the 10% that is an athlete, and I'm telling you, I don't know if Lawrence or anyone agrees. Google it. Look at the bodies of swimmers compared to the bodies of other sports. Swimmers got the best body. All right. Because it is the hardest sport. All right. Now, when you say that you're planning and you're focusing on this objective, like swimming, we set a swim goal. We make a plan and then we swim and then we stick to that. And then let's say you reach your goal, or even if you say you didn't reach your goal. All right. Repeat, do it again. Review what you did wrong. Okay. Your goals may change. Your goals may change. If you've repeatedly did this, I'm not saying you're going to quit on your goal. I'm saying that goals change when it comes to certain aspects in life. Number one, you age. Okay, you age. Your status in life changes. You become married. From single, you become married. Your priorities in life change, and then you set your goal based on those settings. Those are what you have right now. Okay. But again, as I've said, it's very important that you have to have help. If you're too proud to ask for help, you have to be vulnerable. You have to train yourself to be to listen to other people, because other people might have better ideas. It doesn't mean you undermine yourself. It's up to you to filter out those information that other people help you with. But one thing that's important about the life of swimming is every swimmer's got a coach. Every swimmer's got a coach. Every when a swimmer gets to that point that he breaks down because it's really a frustrating sport, the coach is there to push him, not to push, on a negative way, push him constructively. He has ideas about how to get through this. You and your coach or whoever's in your team, you got to go through all this together in order to make it easier for you to break that pain barrier. Now, this is Michael Phelps and this coach Bob Bowman. The reason why I put these pictures on, this is a very rare swimmer to coach relationship. most swimmers have multiple coaches when they become, when they reach their objective. For example, um, Siobhan Hohe, the one that I trained here in Hong Kong, I wasn't the coach that started her. I handled her when she was 14 years old. Two other coaches coached her before I came to Hong Kong. And then she came to me, and then after that I let her go because she has to go to college. And then now before that Olympics where she got those two silver medals, she was coached by by an American coach named um, Michael Ball. All right, now this coach actually gave her the final steps. But the times that she committed in the Olympics, she was already doing those times here in Hong Kong, even before she went to the States. But the refinement and the taking away the pressure in trying to be world greats or world class swimmers or world record holders, that was different for Siobhan. But again, as I'm saying, going back to this picture, Michael Phelps had his coach at the age of 10, but here is this picture here is when he was 12. And now before he retired, the picture on the right, that's when he retired last 2016. And it was only Bob Bowman that had him. If you had the privilege of being coached or being mentored by one person and you've stuck to that person, you've never given up on him, okay, that's a rare relationship. Okay. I don't know with Lawrence if you had another coach besides me. Okay. I'm not, yeah. Oh, none. So that's another rare relationship. The greats do things when they don't want to. No one wants to do it. No one wants to do it. But you got to get some motivation within you and take away all these negative things that stops you from achieving them. All right. So swimming is what we call it's a sport that not only builds character, it also tests it. And in order to be able to build that character, you got to have a mentor that will help you, somebody who's been there, somebody who's done that. All right. So believe in the process of getting there. Work on the small, what takeaway you can get out of my talk is these small stepping stones are the most important. Those small things that you feel like they're insignificant. I can put that away, focus on bigger things. No, work on these small stepping stones to even have that chance of achieving your goal. If you feel like you're not going to achieve it, the pinnacle is being on the top. You know, even the chance of getting to the top, if you fail to do it, you can reorganize yourself and plan again and try to do it the next time around. But don't give up on it. But being able to get that chance of getting there, like your, the honorary mention. If you get there, you're not disregarding these stepping stones. You're treating it as a life lesson for you to get to the top goal. All right, swimming, again, as I've said earlier, it's a repetitive sport. It simulates the muscle memory, and in order for you to stay calm, focus on, you have to be able to focus under a lot of pressure. And at the end, you may not want to do these things like what I'm saying here. The greats don't do things when they don't want to. You may not want to do it, but just stay on it. And this is what was going to separate you from the rest. All right. Okay. Just to cap it up, this is me. And if you would look at Siobhan, that was when she was 14 on the left picture. And on the right is when she came home from the Tokyo Olympics and she presented the medal to us, especially to the coaches that she owed her training to. And look at how tall she is on that picture. Look at us there when she was age 14. We were equal height. I'm telling you, we were equal height. And when she came back from Tokyo, look at her height now. Like that's like half my head, you know. That's how tall she became. But they go back to their roots. They appreciate you being their mentor, being their coach. All right. And I'm telling you right now, Lawrence is in your team. If I've trained him to be the best, and this is a prime example of it. How do I take this thing away at the top? Can you move this? Lawrence is actually the guy on top. And that's me at the bottom with more hair, the one that's wearing white. You can't see my screen. Can you see it? Can you see your face, Lawrence? No, right? You can. All right, that's Lawrence. If you can see him, that was the last Palarong Pambansa. Was it? I think that's the last one that I had. All right, and that as Lawrence introduced me earlier, I was the head coach of the National Capital Region, and Lawrence swam the 200 fly in that race, and he also became a part of my medley relay team, where he also swam that butterfly. The guy at the bottom there, his name is Malix Laurel. He was a former Philippine record holder in the 200 and 100 breaststroke. All right. So these are the Philippines' top swimmers in that picture. And Lawrence is the tallest guy, is right on top of us. So you're in good hands, guys, when you're in Mount Champion. You got somebody I trained, and I think he's better at me in coaching. And you should be a lot privileged and thankful that you're in this Mount Champion team. That's all I gotta say, guys. I've talked enough.
All right.
All right. So can you get me out of here, Lawrence? I told you I'm not very good at this technical stuff.
Okay.
All right. Can you get me out of here?
The share screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just get me out as co-host. There you go.
Okay.
Finally.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Oh, the last slide was really a surprise.
Well, the last slide. I don't know
Uh,
how I got that picture of you, but yeah.
it was really a throwback. So, okay, Mount Champion. Where's my co-host pala?
I think
I'm
he
here,
fell
Doc.
asleep.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
a
here,
long
Doc.
talk.
I was waiting for that last photo.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Now you see Lawrence at his best when he had a six pack. I think he still got a six pack, doesn't he? I'll ask
Try.
Chris.
Let's ask Chris na lang for that. All right. So wow. Okay, I have a lot of notes here, pero of course I don't want to technically I don't want to take the time. So I want to give the time, of course, to our guests right now. So if definitely you
Mhm.
have questions, okay, if
Yeah,
you want something, okay, how
we're
about
opening
you, Topet?
we're opening the floor to everybody. Just raise your hand, yung may raise hand na ano dyan. But I'll start it off. Um, as you probably know, Coach, kasi di ba we're in the business of creating champions and leaders and empowered people.
Okay.
You have actually discussed the journey of someone who's going through the motions of becoming a champion.
Okay.
Ang tanong ko lang kasi is actually from your point of view as one who's mentoring, what do you think would be your key what's the key attribute that you're looking for someone when you train them? At what point do you actually say na, okay, we have to reassess the dream versus we have to reassess the strategy?
Mm.
Kasi the things that you talk about are for us, yung the one that's taking the journey. But from the point of view of a mentor, of a coach,
Mm.
which is something that we're doing din sa mga ibang tao, sa mga kagrupo namin,
Yeah.
what can you advise us? How to not give up on anyone, or at what point do we say that, okay, we have to reassess things?
Okay. Well, coming from a former swimmer's point of view, all right, because before I became a coach, I was also a swimmer. There are coaches that were not swimmers that became coaches also, and they were equally talented. Number one is that you gotta assess yourself as a teacher, as a mentor, okay, and say to yourself, how do I make myself a better mentor? Of course, we study not only the experience that we have by doing our job in the industry, but also you do research. Why do you do research? Is it for yourself? It's also for the people you mentor. The reason why I've gotten my licenses from different parts of the globe is because I want my swimmers to be able to get the best out of my mentorship. And um, I'm telling you right now, as a teacher, I've never given up on a single student, no matter how hard it is to teach a student. All right. I've taught because maybe because I had the experience of teaching special needs children.
Mm.
You know, those. Um, uh, I'm not talking about just main ADHD. I'm talking about mentally retarded children. They're called special children here in Hong Kong, and we do it as an outreach program, and no one wants to do it. Out of the 37 teachers that we have in our company, no one does it except two people. And those two persons is me and the owner of my company, Jane Wright.
Mm.
It's the only the two of us. We never give up because we always study our students. We know their limitations. Okay, you gotta know on a teaching point of view. I teach from infants, like what Lauren said. I teach learn to swim, that's age from 4 to about 7 or 8 years old, and I teach competitive swimmers from 8 and above. All these have different all these children are of different age groups. They have certain stages of development, all right? And even if they're teenagers already, they also have that certain stage of development that they might be developed already. Some of them not fully developed, some of them underdeveloped. You got to study the background of your students and say to yourself, you can never be impatient with them. They won't grow if you put them under negative pressure. They won't learn if you're giving them much pressure by reaching a quota, reaching a goal, being able to do this at this certain period of time. You can't do that. Everybody learns at their own pace, and you got to understand that. Okay. I've got, let's say, 10 infants. They're all under 1 year old. There, some of them 4 months old, some of them 6 months old, some of them 8 months old. And I've got 10 parents in the water with them. And some of the children are crying while we're having the lesson. Let's say out of the 10, one or two are, breaking out and crying. What I say to the parents, please step out. You're disturbing your class. Please let your child calm down. No, you got to have different strategies for different kinds of people. I've got a strategy for a crying child. I got a strategy for a very well developed child that's confident in water. I got it for somebody who's average. I got a different strategy there. I may have a general approach on how I teach, but remember to be flexible as a mentor or a teacher. You got to be able
Okay.
to adjust based on who you're teaching.
Okay.
If this guy performs really well for this account, it doesn't mean you and then this is the way you taught this guy. It doesn't mean the way you taught this guy will work for other guys in your team. It might
Mm.
be a different approach, and you got to give them options. Number two, when I train my swimmers, I don't tell my swimmers that I'm in control of the training program. I'm not. You're in control of your training program. You're the one that came here. You're the one in the water. You're the one swimming. I'm on deck and coaching you. But this is your training program. You're in control. Okay, I'm going to give you three options. Option A, B, C. Which one do you want to do on for warm up? You want to do this for warm up? You want to? I'll write everything on the whiteboard. Choose your warm up. They choose one warm up which they like best. They swim it, but they don't know it. As a mentor, I'm in control of the program. I make sure that they all finish the same amount of time. I make sure that the objective that I've set for that training set is designed to meet this objective. But I've given them free. I given them three options so that they would feel like they are in control of the program.
Yeah.
Okay, we're teaching learn to swim swimmers. There, some of them don't want to listen. Some of them don't want to. Some of them are paying attention. Some are not. You go to them and say to that student, "What's bothering you? Is there something wrong with you? I mean, is there something wrong happening at home? What happened before you came into the lesson?" You gotta show them empathy. I think the same thing with your mentees. You gotta show you show to them that I want to understand where you're coming from. If you got a personal problem, I wouldn't be able to mentor or get through you if you don't tell me what's bothering you. Maybe I can help you out and understand. If I can't fix your problem, but I can lessen your workload,
Mm. Thank
right?
you.
Yeah, things like that.
Thank you. When it comes to researching as a leader, with the
Mm.
volumes of reference books that Doc has actually shared with us, I can testify that he did you proud.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lawrence. That's good. That's good.
Thank you for that answer, Coach.
All right.
All
Anyone
right.
else who would like to ask maybe a question or two for Coach?
Not about
Yeah.
money or love life.
So my suggestion is you put, if you're a little bit shy, you could type in your question or you could unmute your mic. Okay, so what we want is we really want to take this opportunity of listening to my coach actually. So everything he said, I really experienced that waking up, going to school at 4:30. So that's the whole high school life. Okay,
Yeah, all 4 years
all
until you
4 years.
graduated. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think, coach, it's 5 days. Kasi pag Saturday, ganun din eh.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's actually
Oh
6 days. Yeah.
yeah, 6.
So it
Yeah,
wasn't
weekend.
five. Yeah, weekends.
And then sometimes we do one morning training on a Sunday, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Kaya
So it's actually
minsan,
seven days a week. We swim.
yep, yep. So sometimes it's um totoo yun, yung part na sinabi niya na it's not something that we really love, but it's something that we do, and we're just very resilient into it. Kasi honestly, the days that we really love swimming is kapag may competition because training is easy. So, syempre, our coach will not stress us out during that time and after a competition. So, those are the two best swimming days, before and after a competition.
No
Kasi
stress.
the training is easier, pero before the competition, if we're preparing for, and I remember, coach, during those times, even with the inter school, almost every weekend we're competing.
We are. We
We are,
are.
yeah.
Yeah.
So every weekend we're competing, and
Yeah.
at the same time, uh, especially during Palarong Pambansa, the training was
Really
double.
intense.
Yep, yep.
Intense.
So we're training in school and even in celebrity. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We go to two venues. The reason why is that other teams don't do it. Again, as I've said, being a part of a champion team, you got to do things that other agencies or other, other companies are not doing. You got to do something. You got to think out of the box and do something extraordinary. There's this one swimmer that swam in the Tokyo Olympics. She's Australian, all right, and her name is Ariana Titmus from Australia. That was her first Olympics. She never swam Olympics before Tokyo, and her coach is crazy. When you say crazy, absolutely crazy. The cameras focus on the coach on the sidelines at the end of each race that Ariana swims, and he goes. You just Google it. Google it. Look for Australian swimmer winning the 200 freestyle. Google it, and you'll see that coach. He holds the bar. He goes like this, like a monkey. He puts his feet up against the wall and shakes like that, and all the cameras are on him. It went viral in YouTube. Every time that girl wins, he'll go up to a wall and act like a monkey, and they'll shout out too. And he said, good job." And his hair is long like that, and it shakes all around. But this craziness, this being out of the box person, brought this girl to her first Olympics and gave her 3 gold medals. Incidentally, that girl was the one that beat my swimmer, Siobhan Hoey, when Siobhan won the silver. Siobhan was second to Ariana Titmus.
uh,
That's it.
Okay. Coach, we have one incoming question.
Sure.
How would you know if you have actually found your right match for a mentor?
Oh,
I
oh,
guess Doc was lucky because I think there was a good. Obviously, he was lucky to actually found you. For the others, how would you actually know if you have actually found the right chemistry for the mentor?
okay. Number one is that it's not Doc that was lucky. It was me that was lucky to get Lawrence. Number one, no one wanted the 200 fly. I'm telling you, there were only two swimmers that I had in my team. Okay, one of them passed away. Remember, Rossini. Okay, he's not with us anymore. Lawrence was the second guy. They were the top qualifiers in the 200 fly. No one wanted to do it. If I didn't have Lawrence, I didn't have a 200 flyer. Now going back to your question,
Mm.
how do you know that you've found the right mentor? It matches the attitude, your likes and dislikes. Now, don't make a mistake. Like Bob Bowman and Michael Phelps, they consistently argued. This also went viral. It went viral. It was so bad because it was caught on video that Michael Phelps was giving his coach the finger. I'm not gonna demonstrate it on here. It's not allowed. But Michael Phelps gave his coach Bob Bowman, the finger. It was caught on camera only one time. But according to Bob Bowman and even Michael Phelps himself, he does it to his coach 100 times. He curses his coach. They never were in any agreement. There's this one time they had an agreement before a major competition, before a world game. Bob Bowman and Michael Phelps put on paper that when they train at 6 in the morning, all right, they're not allowed to talk to each other from 6 to 8:30. When it hits 8:30 on the clock, that's when Bob Bowman comes over and gives tips to Michael Phelps. So what he does is he puts the workout on a whiteboard. Everybody else follows it. He can talk to any other swimmer, but he can't talk to his swimmer Michael Phelps. You know, as having a mentor, there's always going to be indifferences. There's always going to be conflicts. There's going to be clashes. It doesn't mean that's the wrong mentor for you, okay? Or that he's not the right student for you. If this student, if we're talking about on a mentor point of view, if this student makes you as a mentor do your best, that's the student for you. It makes you research more, study more, prepare more before a certain session, before you can go. If you just wake up in the morning, drink your coffee, go there. Okay, I can teach them. I'll just teach this guy ordinary stuff. You're not motivated to teach that student. That's not the student for you. All right. Now, coming from a student point of view, if you know that this is your mentor, number one, you feel like you want to be better than your mentor. If you're a student, you gotta believe in your mentor. You gotta believe in your coach. If you don't have that belief, research about your coach. What is his background? What did he achieve? If you know that number one is that you have to be confident with him before you even start with him. If you're not confident with him, then go to another. All right. I'm not saying don't give that guy a chance. All right. Give him a chance. If it doesn't work 1 or 2 sessions, okay, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm not saying you're close minded because you feel like you know more than a mentor, but you gotta have a mentor that would challenge you. Because as a swimmer, I hated 200 fly. So when I coached Lawrence, I knew that Lawrence was going to be better than me because I only swam 100 fly when I was a swimmer. When my dad gave me the 200 fly, I would slow it down on purpose so that my dad would not field me on that event. All right. So as a student, I think Lawrence wanted to make me proud by saying, no one else wants a 200 fly. I'll do it for you, because no one else would want to step up and do it. So if you want to impress your mentor, if you want to make the most out of yourself and surpass the ability of your mentor, then you know that that's the mentor for you. Don't say to yourself that you're better than your mentor. Never say that. Keep your mind open as a student, but at the same time, try to achieve objectives that will make you look like you're better than your coach. And you think your coach will be insulted? No, no, he'd love you more for it. Because even mentors, us coaches, we compete against each other. When I go to competition, I stand with other coaches and I watch my swimmer swim that event, and my swimmer starts to break away. I look at the face of my colleague. I look at the other. I go looking at them saying, "See what I told you? You're not gonna touch my swimmer. You're never gonna
Mm.
touch my swimmer." All right, because I'm gonna tell you right now, that swimmer's better than me when I was swimming. As a mentor, you gotta teach your student better than what you know. That's why thus research and further development and self-improvement is important for being a teacher.
Mm. Thank you, Coach. Any more questions? If wala, I'm really very sorry for this, but I have one last question, Coach.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. From the coach's point of view, siyempre tao lang, di ba, Coach, napapagod ka rin. What keeps you going? Siyempre hindi mo ma-express yun sa mga tao mo, napagod na ako, nakakapagod siya. But
Okay.
what keeps you going?
All right. Do you know what mission? I think all companies have what we call a mission vision, right?
Mm.
All companies don't exist without a mission vision on their bylaws, right? So all companies try to teach their employees to stick to this mission vision, all right, in order to achieve not only the company's objective, but the personal objective of their employees. Now, as for me, my personal commitment was before I didn't want to be a teacher. I wanted something else. I wanted to be a banker. I studied financial accounting. I finished financial accounting. I went into management. I took my MBA. I wanted to work in a bank so badly. But whenever I wake up in the morning, I don't feel like doing it. All right.
Mm.
So I gave up. After 2 years of banking, I went to teaching. I studied my education course. I also took up sports science and I put them together. What motivates me and keeps me going is this one important mission vision that I set in my mind. The more children that I teach, the less children that will drown. And that is every swimming teacher's goal. Every time you wake up in the morning, you feel like, I feel like I'm gonna get sick. I don't want to go to work today. You're depriving children of their right to learn how to swim. You're endangering their safety and their lives when they accidentally fall in the water, no one's there to save them. Not being able to save themselves in the water because you opted not to go to work because you're lazy, all right, or you're not motivated. Think of those children that needs your guidance. There are other teachers, of course, other teachers can fill in and take my place, but no one is more passionate, in my opinion. I'm not saying, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal here in Hong Kong, but I know that my co-teachers in my company don't teach as good as I do. I put myself in a position where I make sure that I excel in what I do, and I see other teachers doing better than me. I make sure I research and find another or better approach to teach swimming so I can surpass that coach. All right. So if I make myself absent and the other teacher fills in for me and teaches this guy, and this guy doesn't like the way that child is, that teacher is teaching, that child will give up on swimming and go to another sport. All right, because he didn't like the teacher. I didn't want that to happen. I want a certain continuity in my teaching, that I'm the only guy that teaches this child. You call it selfish what you may, but I'm making this child excel in this sport that his parents or even himself has chosen for himself. All right. So make a mission vision that would get you up at 4 in the morning. No, you don't have to wake up that early. Make a make a mission vision that would get you up out of bed and make you excited, because it's really hard getting up off your bed, especially if you had a tiring day the day
Mhm.
before. Okay,
Okay.
getting up, getting yourself motivated, get a mission vision, set it as a personal goal until you retire from the sport.
Okay. Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you very, very much for those very inspiring messages and insights.
Thank
At
you.
this point, I would like to actually hand the floor over to Doc, who's going to actually give you our token of our appreciation.
Oh,
Doc?
well,
Right.
you're gonna ship it to Hong Kong.
Uh, when Chris and I go there.
No
But for the
worries.
meantime, okay,
Yeah.
so thank you for those wonderful and inspiring talk, as always naman. Okay.
Thank you.
So since high school and even after that, and when we saw each other again at Hong Kong,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, we get to communicate again. But it's true, people have to be driven with a mission and a vision.
Mm,
For in a Mount Champion way naman, our mission is the same thing. When we go get up every day, people out there needs to be protected, and not just to be protected, they have to be guided properly. We
yeah.
know the problem of our industry. Many would just be buying insurance or wouldn't understand what they're buying, or at the end of the day they would have problems in their claims and all that.
Mm.
So in Mount Champion, that's our role. Okay, we really need to guide them. Okay, and I hope, okay, today's we're not yet done, by the way. Okay, so but today I'm very thankful that Coach Awad, I call him Coach Awad, gave us the time. I invited him July, I think, or June.
July.
July. Okay,
July.
and we've been planning this for how many months already, and I'm glad everything came out so perfectly, beyond what I've been expecting. And of course, because of that, in behalf of Mount
Oh.
Champion,
Oh my God.
yeah,
Okay.
we would like to thank you, and of course give this certificate
Oh.
of recognition, okay, in appreciation for imparting not just knowledge, the passion, the expertise, the heart, okay, of being a coach and a true champion. This valuable insight during our Grand Assembly titled The Making of a Champion, this October 2nd, 2021. So
Okay.
thank you so much. And I hope, in behalf of Mount Champion, can we give a virtual heart and a clap to our keynote speaker, Coach Edward Borja.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So when we go to Hong Kong, and Chris, may utang kami sa'yo.
Huh?
We'll have
Wag na.
dinner